The billionaire spoke in ancient Shanghai dialect to mock the waitress. What happened next silenced the entire restaurant. This one probably thinks Confucius is a type of noodle. The words sliced through the air in archaic Shanghai dialect. Precise, deliberate, designed to wound without leaving evidence. Vincent Zhao didn't bother moderating his tone. Why would he? To him, the black waitress hovering at table 12 was merely decorative furniture, as incapable of comprehending his linguistic artistry as the gilded mirror behind her. Maya Williams stood perfectly still, her pen pressed against the order pad with surgical restraint. Her expression revealed nothing. She's probably juggling 3 kids and a trailer park address. Vincent continued in the rare dialect to his 2 dining companions, both smirking in synchronized superiority. These people excel at carrying trays and collecting welfare. It's generational, cultural, inevitable. The Celestine wasn't just exclusive, it was mythological. Venetian chandeliers that cost more than luxury cars. Hand-embroidered Italian linens. A wine cellar that required background checks to access. It was Saturday, 8:45 p.m., and every table radiated the kind of wealth that mistakes arrogance for achievement. Maya was 28 years old. She had survived this place for 9 grueling months. To the clientele, she was atmospheric. A black woman in regulation black, braided hair secured in an immaculate low bun, scuffed shoes concealed beneath deliberately loose-fitting trousers. She existed in their peripheral vision, never their direct gaze. "May I take your order, gentlemen?" Maya asked in flawless English, her tone calibrated to professional neutrality. Vincent Zhao finally acknowledged her presence. Not her face, her posture, her humanity. His eyes traveled from her hands to her collar, then down to her shoes. His lip curled with barely concealed disgust. Vincent Zhao was the founder of Nexus Semiconductor, a manufacturing empire valued at $14.2 billion. At 54, he possessed the bearing of someone who had systematically eliminated the word accountability from his vocabulary. Bespoke Brioni 3-piece suit. Patek Philippe grand complication on his wrist. Salt and pepper hair styled with precision. Maya's alarm pierced the darkness at 4:47 a.m. 3 snoozes. Never 4. By 5:15, she was already on the BART, her Georgetown diploma folded metaphorically into the pocket of her regulation black slacks. The other passengers saw a service worker. They didn't see the woman who once sat across from deputy ministers, translating nuances that could shift international policy. The Celestine opened its kitchen at 6 a.m. sharp. Maya arrived at 5:50, always early, never noticed. She changed in the basement locker room that smelled of industrial bleach and forgotten ambitions. Her name tag read simply Maya, no last name, no history, no PhD-level linguistics expertise hidden behind the $3 plastic clip. By 6:30, she was polishing wine glasses that cost more than her weekly salary. Her hands moved automatically. Polish. Inspect. Stack. Repeat. The crystal caught the early light, refracting tiny rainbows she no longer bothered to admire. Her phone buzzed at 7:12. Grandma Josephine had another difficult night. Medication adjusted. Invoice attached, for $1,800. Maya's jaw tightened. She deleted the notification and continued polishing. The Celestine's dining room was a temple to excess. Baroque chandeliers dripped from 20-foot ceilings. Oil paintings in ornate frames depicted pastoral scenes that had never known poverty. The carpet absorbed sound so completely that wealth moved through the space like a ghost, present, powerful, suffocating. Gerald Bennett, the floor manager, appeared at 8:45 wearing his signature expression, thinly veiled contempt wrapped in professional courtesy. Table 12 tonight. High-value clients. Vincent Zhao's party. You'll be primary server. Understood, Maya replied, her voice carrying none of the weight pressing against her chest. Bennett paused. And Maya? Smile more. Our guests appreciate warmth. She smiled. He walked away satisfied, never wondering what it cost her. Vincent Zhao arrived at 8:43 p.m. with the energy of someone accustomed to rearranging reality around his preferences. 2 associates flanked him, Michael Chun, CFO of Nexus Semiconductor, and David Park, their legal counsel. All 3 wore variations of the same armor, designer suits, Swiss watches, and the unconscious arrogance of men who confused net worth with moral authority. Maya approached table 12 with her notepad, her expression professionally neutral. Good evening, gentlemen. May I start you with something from our wine selection? Vincent didn't acknowledge her. He was mid-sentence, speaking to Michael in Mandarin. Standard business dialect. Nothing unusual yet. The quarterly projections look solid, Michael said, reviewing something on his tablet. Vincent nodded, then his eyes drifted to Maya. Something shifted in his expression, a predator recognizing prey. He switched dialects mid-thought, transitioning into archaic Shanghai dialect with the fluidity of someone who enjoyed demonstrating linguistic superiority. I wonder if this one can even read the menu, Vincent said, his tone conversational. Look at her hands. Manual labor hands. Probably never held anything more sophisticated than a mop handle. Michael glanced at Maya, then back at Vincent, chuckling quietly. Maya's pen remained poised above her notepad. Her face betrayed nothing. These people, Vincent continued, warming to his performance. They're adequate for menial tasks. Service positions. But abstract thinking? Strategic planning? It's simply not in their cultural framework. He gestured vaguely at Maya, as if she were a specimen under glass. David Park shifted uncomfortably, but said nothing. She's probably wondering why we're speaking gibberish, Vincent added with a satisfied smile. Blissfully unaware. Ignorance must be remarkably peaceful. Still water or sparkling, gentlemen? Maya asked in English, her voice unchanged. Vincent finally addressed her directly. Sparkling. And try not to spill it. The memory arrived uninvited, triggered by the particular cadence of Vincent's Shanghai dialect, the same variant spoken by Professor Liu at Beijing Foreign Studies University, where Maya had spent 2 years perfecting regional linguistic variations most native speakers never mastered. She was 24. The American Embassy in Beijing. Third-floor conference room with bulletproof windows overlooking Tiananmen Square. She wore a charcoal suit and simultaneous interpretation headset, translating a complex trade negotiation between the U.S. Trade Representative and China's Ministry of Commerce. The stakes were $40 billion in agricultural exports. Her accuracy was flawless. Her reputation, ascending. Then her phone vibrated during a bathroom break. Unknown San Francisco number. Is this Maya Williams? This is Pacific Memory Care Center. Your grandmother, Josephine Williams, was brought to our emergency facility this morning. Advanced Alzheimer's with acute delirium. She's stable, but she needs immediate specialized placement. The cost is... Maya had stopped listening after advanced Alzheimer's. The rest was logistics. Expensive, complicated, life-altering logistics. She resigned from the State Department 36 hours later. Georgetown colleagues called it career suicide. Her department head offered sabbatical alternatives. Maya declined everything. Josephine had raised her after her parents died. Had worked double shifts as a hospital janitor to fund Maya's debate team fees, her SAT prep courses, her college application fees. You're going to fly, baby girl, Josephine used to say. Higher than I ever could. Now Josephine couldn't remember Maya's name most days. But Maya remembered everything. The cost was $4,800 monthly. Her savings lasted 4 months. The Celestine hired her in month 5. Georgetown alumni working fine dining. The irony wasn't lost on her. But Josephine's care was non-negotiable. Vincent Zhao's laughter pulled her back to table 12. He was still performing, still mocking, still utterly unaware. Gerald Bennett materialized beside table 12 at 9:17 p.m. wearing his professional smile, the one that never reached his eyes. Mr. Zhao, I trust everything is meeting your expectations? Vincent glanced up, mildly annoyed by the interruption. The service is adequate, though your waitress has a staring problem. Maya's spine straightened infinitesimally. She had maintained perfect professional distance, eyes down except when directly engaged. I apologize, Mr. Zhao, Gerald said immediately, not even glancing at Maya. I'll address that. Vincent waved dismissively. See that you do? We're discussing sensitive business matters. I don't appreciate feeling scrutinized by the help. Gerald's hand gripped Maya's elbow, tight enough to communicate urgency, gentle enough to maintain the illusion of discretion. He steered her toward the kitchen corridor, his smile evaporating the moment they crossed the threshold. What the hell are you doing? He hissed. Taking their order. Providing service. My job. Your job is to be invisible. Zhao just spent $3,400 on wine. He's a regular. You? You're replaceable. Gerald's face was inches from hers now. I don't care what he said or did. You go back out there, you apologize for making him uncomfortable, and you finish the service with a smile. Understood. Maya's hands were shaking. She pressed them against her sides. He called me. I don't care. Gerald's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. I don't care if he called you every name in the book. You need this job. Your grandmother needs this job. So you're going to walk back out there and make this right. The calculation was instant. Brutal. Accurate. $4,800 due in 11 days. No savings. No alternatives. Understood, Maya said. Table 12 had attracted attention. Not obvious stares. The Celestines' clientele was too refined for that, but peripheral awareness. Slight head turns. Pause conversations. The ambient energy of witnessing something uncomfortably public. Maya returned with the appetizers, her expression carefully neutral. She placed the seared scallops before Vincent with precise professionalism. Vincent didn't acknowledge the food. Instead, he leaned back in his chair, studying Maya with theatrical interest. He switched back to archaic Shanghai dialect, his voice carrying just enough to reach adjacent tables. I've been thinking, Vincent announced to his colleagues, about the natural hierarchy of competence. Some cultures build semiconductors. Others serve them on plates. It's not cruelty, it's observation. Michael Chen looked uncomfortable. David Parks studied his napkin intently. This one, Vincent continued, gesturing at Maya, probably thinks Shanghai is a type of sauce. He paused, waiting for laughter. Michael obliged with a weak chuckle. Then Vincent's expression shifted into something colder, more deliberate. He addressed Maya directly in English, his tone patronizing. You've been rude to me. Staring. Making my guests uncomfortable. In Chinese culture, such disrespect requires a formal apology. Maya remained silent. I want you to kneel, Vincent said clearly. Right here. Apologize properly for your behavior. The dining room fell silent. Conversations died mid-sentence. Even the kitchen noise seemed to dim. Gerald Bennett appeared instantly, his face pale. Mr. Zhao, I'm sure we can. She kneels, or she's fired, Vincent interrupted. Your choice, Gerald. Maya's hands were steady now. Perfectly, unnaturally steady. She looked at Vincent Zhao directly for the first time all evening. And then she spoke. The words emerged in flawless, high-register Mandarin, not the standard Beijing dialect, but the precise archaic Shanghai variant Vincent had been weaponizing all evening. Her accent was perfect. Her tone, devastating. Forgive me, Mr. Zhao, Maya said, her voice carrying across the now silent dining room. I was distracted earlier. You see, I was trying to recall whether the environmental dumping protocols you discussed in Suzhou last month, the ones involving untreated chemical runoff into residential water supplies, would constitute criminal negligence under California law, or merely civil liability. Vincent's face drained of color. Maya continued, her Mandarin flowing with the precision of someone who had translated for deputy ministers. My Mandarin is somewhat rusty since leaving the State Department's Beijing embassy, but I believe I understood correctly. You were telling Mr. Chun that the Fremont facility violations could be managed through selective reporting. Did I misunderstand? Michael Chen's fork clattered against his plate. I also found your earlier anthropological observations fascinating, Maya continued. Your theories about cultural hierarchies and natural competence. I took similar courses at Georgetown, international relations, actually, with a double major in Sino-American policy and advanced linguistics. My thesis focused on dialectical variations in Yangtze Delta commerce. Your Shanghai variant is quite good, though you're using the pre-1940s aristocratic form. Charming, but a bit archaic for modern business contexts. The silence was absolute. Suffocating. Vincent's hands were trembling. You understood. Every word. Maya replied in English now, her voice quiet and precise. Every insult. Every slur. Every illegal business practice you assumed was hidden behind a language barrier. She set down her notepad on table 12 with careful deliberation. I quit.
Wait. The voice came from table 7, a quiet corner table that Maya had barely noticed all evening. An elegant woman in her early 60s rose gracefully, approaching table 12 with measured steps. Her suit was Armani, her presence magnetic. My name is Eleanor Zhang, she said in perfect English, though her slight accent suggested Mandarin as her first language. I've been sitting 15 feet away for the past 40 minutes. Vincent Zhao looked like he was trying to disappear into his chair. Eleanor continued, her voice calm, but carrying absolute authority. I came to San Francisco specifically to finalize a Dolomite $280 million investment in Nexus Semiconductor. My firm was prepared to sign tomorrow morning. She paused, letting that number settle. We were prepared. She turned to Maya. You said Georgetown. International Relations? Yes, ma'am. Class of 2021. I worked embassy postings in Beijing for 2 years before returning for family reasons. Eleanor nodded slowly, something like recognition in her eyes. I was nobody once, a factory worker's daughter in Guangzhou. I remember what it feels like to be invisible. She turned back to me. Vincent, Mr. Zhao, my investment is withdrawn. Effective immediately. I will also be contacting the EPA regarding the Suzhou facility you mentioned. Vincent stood abruptly. Mrs. Zhang, please. This is a misunderstanding. Sit down, Eleanor said quietly. She pulled a business card from her clutch, handing it to Maya. Transamerica Pyramid, 40th floor. Monday, 9 am. I need a director of international relations. Someone with your particulars, skill set, languages, diplomacy, and apparently exceptional composure under pressure. The salary is $240,000 annually, plus healthcare that covers specialized elder care. Maya stared at the card, her hands finally shaking. Thank you, she whispered. The Transamerica Pyramid's 40th floor was all glass and possibility. Maya arrived at 8:47 a.m. Monday wearing the charcoal suit she'd kept in the back of her closet. The one from Beijing, pressed to my seat, and ready, like it had been waiting for this exact moment. Eleanor Zhang's assistant greeted her warmly, escorting her through sleek corridors to a corner office with views of the entire bay. Mrs. Zhang will be with you shortly. Coffee, please. Black. Maya stood by the window, watching fog burn off the Golden Gate Bridge. Her phone buzzed. A text from Pacific Memory Care. Payment received in full. 6 months advance. Your grandmother is resting comfortably. She closed her eyes, breathing deeply for the first time in 9 months. Maya Eleanor entered, extending her hand. Welcome to Zhang Capital Partners. They spent 3 hours reviewing international portfolio companies, discussing Maya's language capabilities, her understanding of cross-cultural business protocols. It wasn't an interview, it was an attreview. Collaboration between equals. At noon, Eleanor's phone rang. She glanced at the caller ID, smiled slightly, and put it on speaker. Eleanor, please, I'm begging you to reconsider. Vincent Zhao's voice was desperate. Mr. Zhao, I'm in a meeting with my new director of international relations, actually. You remember Maya Williams? Silence. Don't call again, Eleanor said, ending the call. Maya's phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. This is Gerald Bennett. I wanted to apologize for she deleted it without reading further. Some bridges were meant to burn completely. Eleanor was watching her. You ready to start? Maya smiled, genuinely, for the first time in months. Absolutely. Saturday morning arrived, wrapped in the kind of California sunshine that makes everything feel possible. Maya drove to Pacific Memory Care Center in her new leased Volvo. Modest but reliable, like her sancta grandmother had always taught her. Josephine was in the courtyard garden, wearing her favorite lavender cardigan. At 79, she still had moments of clarity that pierced through the fog of Alzheimer's like lighthouse beams. Baby girl, Josephine said, recognition flickering in her eyes. You look different, happy different. Maya sat beside her, taking her grandmother's weathered hand. I got a new job, Grandma. A good one. The kind you always said I'd have. Course you did, I always knew. Josephine's grip tightened. My Maya, too smart for her own good sometimes. They sat in comfortable silence, watching hummingbirds visit the fountain. Maya didn't mention Vincent Zhao or the Celestine or kneeling demands. She didn't need to. Josephine had spent 40 years navigating rooms that didn't want her, wearing uniforms that erased her identity, proving herself in spaces that assumed her incompetence. "You remember what I used to tell you?" Josephine asked suddenly. "When kids at school were mean. They can't see you yet, baby, but one day they'll have no choice." "That's right," Josephine smiled. "You flying now?" Maya thought about the 40th floor. The corner office. Eleanor Jang seeing her not as decoration but as essential. The $240,000 salary that meant Josephine would never face state care. The look on Vincent Zhao's face when her Mandarin destroyed his assumptions. "Yeah, Grandma," Maya said softly. "I'm flying." Josephine squeezed her hand. "Higher than I ever could." "Only because you built the runway." They stayed until sunset, talking when Josephine was present, sitting in gentle silence when she drifted. Maya's phone remained in her purse, notifications silenced. This moment needed no sassy interruptions as Maya prepared to leave. Josephine looked at her with sudden clarity. "You good, baby girl?" Maya kissed her grandmother's forehead. "I'm perfect,"